You're listening to Chillworthy,
a podcast where two best friends discuss mysteries, murders, and anything in between for your enjoyment.
So if you're ready to hear some chilling and unsettling cases, you're in the right place. Happy listening.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast, Chillworthy, with Talia and Brent.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing?
All right, I'm just a little tired today.
Yeah, you had a hell of a weekend.
Yeah, Halloween party.
Right. Well, like a camping
Camping
party.
Halloween party, yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because, and I mean, I know my mother will be listening to this. You know, I packed and
I
packed.
thought you were going to say, I passed out. I was going to say, no, you didn't.
I packed, and I always have packing anxiety.
Like that you'll forget something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I left here with like 3 full bags.
Wow.
And I'm talking about IKEA-sized bags.
Bigos.
For a trip that's only supposed to be 2.5 days, mind you.
Right.
I get up there, I unpack, no blanket, no pillow. The most basic
You were frazzled.
of basics. So luckily, we ran out that evening to go to to a diner, and then we stopped at Walmart, and I got like a $3. Who knew Walmart had such cheap $3 bed pillows?
Are they chintzy?
They were fine. They were
right.
fine for me.
Good.
But I just thought, like, oh my God, you know, like I didn't bring any. The bedding completely slipped my mind.
Well.
But it was fine.
Yeah. Well, and I think how you said with how much you packed, I think the fact that it's like a camping weekend, I just always associate that word with bringing so much extra bullshit. Like you're forced to bring so much stuff, you know?
Yeah, well, I think it's also what kind of lifestyle do you want while you're there, you know? Because like I said,
comfort.
Some of the people I was with, you know, they wanted an extension of the cabin. They wanted outdoor tables, and not that, I mean, that's all great, but it's like for me, I would have been complete, because I have literally done this, completely satisfied with, I show up, there's my little cabin, and by cabin, it's only a 1-room thing. It's not like there's no bathroom or anything like that. Like that's all the public stuff, but just a cabin with a little 1-room thing with a front porch. And I would have showed up. Maybe I would have put a pumpkin on the front, you know, on the front porch, and maybe plugged in some black and purple lights and had been done with it. That was not this trip.
Right.
But I mean, so yeah, it's like it depends on what style do you want. You know, do you want to have everything like a air fryer with you, or are you just cool with like, let's throw some wood on the fire, we'll walk to the cafe to get some dinner? That would have been fine by me.
Right.
So,
Well, good for you.
yeah.
What was your costume?
I was a moth.
That's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
That is very nice.
So, it had like a moth wing shawl and ostrich feathers.
A classy moth.
Yes,
Absolutely.
ostrich feathers for antenna.
Yeah.
So,
Good for you.
yeah. It was nice.
Unique.
Very unique.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I have many things to discuss. I have a whole list. Now, my topic today is going to be on the briefer side. It's kind of like a legend fable situation. Very brief, though. My conversation topics are lengthy.
Okay.
All right. So, first off, have you read anything?
No.
Okay. I am still reading. What's it called? How to Solve Your Own Murder.
Oh.
Farther into it, still loving it. The London Seance Society.
Oh.
Almost finished. Love it. And I read and finished. I sent it to you. What Mother Won't Tell Me, I believe.
Okay.
Short read, pretty quick. I thought it was a horror book. It's not. It's like a psychological thriller. Not the best I've read.
Okay. Where'd you hear about it?
I got it at the bookstore for my birthday that year that Ashley, my gift was like, go to the bookstore, get as many as you can in this amount of time. That was my gift. It was freaking fantastic. It was one of those that I picked out. Mm-hmm. And it was very fast paced. I got through it quick. It like keeps you on the edge of your seat, but not the greatest. There were some parts that were just I didn't really care for the ending. So that's all I have to say about that. Okay. Now, you have gifted me many things.
Tell me something I don't know. Wait, could you?
Yeah.
What did you think about the coffee?
Oh my God. It was.
She's just looking at me with this frozen half smile on her face.
It was delightful.
You told me you were going to tell me the very next day. I haven't heard a single thing about it.
I didn't have it the next day because I got scared because I just got very. So also, I have another coffee. G got me maple French toast and also scrumptious. But I got very scared with the intermittent fasting and drinking flavored coffee. I got very scared that was going to break the fast. And I'm doing it and I'm thinking there's no way this qualifies. Like there's zero way this is okay. And then I Googled it and got the answer that I knew was the case. So back to it has to be weekends only and afternoon. So, but delicious. And thank you so much. You and our friend.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm sorry you can't enjoy it all hours of the day.
It's okay, man. It's my choice.
So
it's fine. Now, back to the surprise. So I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
It's not from me. It's from Ashley.
That means it's going to be good.
I feel like you and she have a very adorable little surprise back and forth situation at times with each other. She made a comment. I forget how she said it, but basically how this is like your holiday. This is your version of Christmas with how much you love this season. It was very sweet.
I mean, I do love this season.
Of course. So I'm going to toss it to you.
Talia.
Oh, come on. You can catch it. All right.
She walks it over. All right, I opened it, but I have not totally looked at it. It's super soft. I believe it to be a blanket.
It looks like a blankie, yes.
Very fleecy.
Yeah.
It's a hocus pocus blanket. It's lovely. Absolutely lovely. It has tons of the quotes all over it.
Oh, do you see the amuck, amuck, amuck in your laugh? Or is it there too? It's like right in front of, isn't it?
Oh,
nice.
Yes. So yes, this blanket is super, super soft. I absolutely love it. I'm now sitting under it, laying-ish under it.
Yeah, you're snuggled away.
Right, and I'm definitely going to be taking a nap with this as soon as this podcast is over.
Gross.
So
I hate naps.
Just so that everybody knows, because as we disclosed the last time, Talia shames people for audiobooks, and now she also shames people for napping.
Correct.
If any of you are nappers, which there's zero wrong with that, but Talia says unsubscribe, unfollow.
I do not. Don't say that. Anyway. Yeah, so she was very excited about that, and I think
well, thank you to Ashley.
Very excited that you did this on the air. You opened it. Okay. Now I want to get to a multifaceted topic. Mm-hmm. You had asked if she and I watched Agatha all along, if we had started it. Mm-hmm. Now, WandaVision, which is what you would say, or what would you say? Like that's basically part one of the story?
Well, it's Agatha is a continuation of WandaVision.
Okay. Well,
which you've disclosed you've done it wrong.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
Neither of us watched WandaVision.
Which blows my mind. But
I know. It's shameful. Well, now we did start Agatha all along, and we didn't finish, but we're up to
where it is.
Correct, on episode 6. I want to rewatch it though, but then when we got to 6, Ashley's like, I feel like we really need to start WandaVision. Because as we were watching the different episodes, she would make comments, like we would look at each other at certain parts, like we really should have watched WandaVision first, as we should have, as your not expected to, but that's,
You basically are expected
right,
to. Yeah.
Right.
Now, don't say too much about it, though. You don't want the thrillers to be spoiled.
Ashley told me the same thing.
All
Yes.
right.
She said, before I even went into this, which I forgot to do this, is to say, spoiler, is that what you say? Alert, warning, whatever. I didn't go into any details, though, so I feel like we're safe.
Okay.
But I do want to say 2 things. Actually, 3 things.
Do it.
You have or have not, I believe you have not ever watched Transparent, the show.
No.
God, I was
I
obsessed
know,
with
you
that
liked
show.
that.
Oh my God, I loved it so much. And Agatha is a character from that show. She's the rabbi in it.
Oh, okay.
The actress who plays Agatha.
Catherine Hahn.
Is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like interesting to see when it started. I was like,
She also was in that movie that you really, really disliked. That horror
with the
movie.
grandmother crawling on 4.
Yes.
On 4.
The Visit.
On her 4s. I hated that movie.
That's a very scary movie.
Hell yeah. I don't remember her in that. Was she?
Well, she wasn't in much, but she was the mom that the kid,
Yes.
she went on the cruise and the kids went to the grandparents.
They
but
sure did. Yeah. So a topic that came up between Ashley and I, it was disclosed that Ashley has a little crush on one of the characters.
Right.
Aubrey Plaza, I believe her name is.
That's what I said to you
Yeah.
before you told me who it was.
Oh, because I said, what did I say? I said, Ashley, likes this one with the big eyes. And you go, well, that must be Aubrey Plaza.
No, you just said Ashley has an affinity for one of them or something.
Oh, and you knew.
Yeah.
Well, I said, so I have been teasing Ashley about this relentlessly since this was disclosed. And I do not care for this actress.
Well, I think she's beautiful.
So does Ashley. So, and apparently a lot of other people. So today we're talking about it again. And Ashley goes, she is a sapphic icon. I said, what are you talking about? No, she's not. And Ashley's looking like so serious about this. And I literally wrote down what she said because I thought it was so hilarious. She goes, go on TikTok and look her up. Like, there are so many videos about her, about being a sapphic icon. And I said, well, I am not attracted to her in the least. And Ashley so confidently goes, oh, but you will be after you see these videos. So I don't know what's on these effing videos, nor do I care. She's not my cup of tea.
Nor do I care.
Yeah, not my cup of tea. I can think of other people that would come to mind before Aubrey Plaza.
Fine.
So forget it. So that happened. And then lastly, I wanted to say or ask, what are your thoughts on Ouija boards?
I hate them.
So what about as a kid?
1,000%. I hate them. I think I did at one point. No, I never owned one. I think my neighbor did. And I think we would play with it maybe but I don't even say every once in a while. It was 2 times I can even remember. And that was fine, but I want absolutely zero to do with those things. I love, as you know, witchy stuff, metaphysical stuff, new age stuff. I want zilch to do with Ouija boards.
All right.
Could I be any stronger in my answer?
I think I got the message. Thank
Why do you ask?
you. Well, because that came up as a topic we were also discussing in between what women were attracted to who are famous. And it's a normal conversation,
And Ashley likes Ouija boards?
No, she had the same reaction you did. She actually went farther and went on to say that she has never, ever participated, touched one, done anything with it. And when I brought up about what about when you were a kid and what if there was a sleepover or something? And she said she remembers several times that would get broken out during a sleepover and she would leave the room.
She was adamant. She had her principles.
Right. And I said, you're kidding. Did people make fun of you? Did they give you a hard time? She's like, no, I didn't do anything with it. That was it. All right. She said what she said.
I picture, like I said, obviously with the latest disclosures we're finding out about when it comes to what you do in the mirrors and stuff, I picture you with one of those in the 80s, My Dream Date game.
What was that?
Where you're calling people, it was those play phones you would call up
I never
Tommy.
played it. Tommy's boy.
Right. I picture you just saying oh, let's give them a call.
I don't even know what game this is.
No, but I mean in the Ouija board.
Oh, she asked me and I said, oh, I wanted a part of that so bad. I remember the first sleepover that I went to that one of those got broken out because we certainly didn't have one at home. And I don't remember my mom saying anything. I don't remember, like, maybe she wasn't around when I brought it up. I'd imagine she was, though. But my father had a very strong reaction that I am not to play with Ouija boards. That is, sacrilegious. And that's just, I will not be participating in that. Well, that just made me want to do it.
I was going to say, well, he was freaking wrong on that.
That just ignited, because it's like, I was very curious about it at the sleepover, but then that reaction he had, I was like, oh, I got to get my hands on one of those things. Like, what the hell is the big deal about it? Like, I need to do this again. So then, of course, I barely ever saw one again, but I wanted in on it. I wanted to try. I wanted to fiddle about. I wanted to see what was what. Hell yeah.
But you never did?
No.
Well.
But not by choice. Just no opportunity.
Well, we're never fiddling about that here.
Do you have one?
No, hell no.
I mean, I suppose you could still buy one.
Yeah, I think
on
you can.
eBay, or do you think
they still sell them? I'm pretty sure. How hard is it to make a board with numbers? I mean, you don't have to be a blacksmith to do it.
No, I'd imagine not.
So yeah, no, that's definitely not up my alley.
Yeah.
So. All right, well, I mean, I'm glad you're watching it, but I wish you would have watched it the correct way.
I know, but it is what it is. Oh, and back to the famous women conversation, the last episode we watched, Billie Eilish, that song. You are caught up? You did watch that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a nice song.
Oh my gosh, it's a great song,
Very
and it
nice.
gave me chills.
Hell yeah.
But why would it give you chills?
It didn't give me chills. I really like Billie Eilish.
I'm saying that the disclosure during that thing.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, speaking of sort of that, well, basically that. Well, scratch that. But I don't want to ruin anything.
Exactly, that's all you can say.
Well, I kind of want to say something. I guess I won't, though, just in case. No, I think I can say it. Tummy's boy. I said it during that episode, and I was so proud of myself. You don't get the reference. Good. Hopefully nobody else does either. All right.
Well, moving on.
Yeah, that's my list.
All right. Well, thank you again, Ashley. I love how you started that off with, so you always shower me with gifts, so my wife got you this.
I thought you'd like
Thank
that.
you.
Absolutely. And she's been after me to give it to you for like weeks now. And I didn't bring it. But I did today.
Yes.
I did.
All right, so what's your topic?
It is called the Devil's Chair. Are you familiar?
No.
I've never heard of it. And
I don't even know what it is
Yeah.
yet. Is it a natural formation of something?
no. It is
Okay.
a man-made, basically, chair in cemeteries, but it's carved from stone. So it's, like a tombstone chair, basically.
Jeez.
So, but I'm curious if they're around us or if we've ever seen one and just kind of not thought anything of it. But I never heard of this before.
I assume you have pictures of this?
Oh, yes. Thank you
or
for
was
saying
that going above and beyond for you?
Thank you for saying
Since you've never given me one geo spot.
That is true.
Anyway,
I was
go
just
ahead.
about to become combative and deny it, but that is true.
You're growing.
Well, don't get excited. I sent you a note. It's all pictures, but don't necessarily, maybe look quickly, but like,
Oh, jeez.
I have locations that I'm going to talk about, and then I have those specific pictures, but just so you get an idea of what one is.
All right.
So
I've never seen anything like it.
I know, me neither. Okay, so in the 19th century, many cemeteries in America included these carved stone chairs, and they referred to them as mourning chairs. Mourning, M-O-U, yeah.
You got it.
Right. So the idea was that it was a place of rest for grieving family members, friends.
Which what I would assume as well.
Right. Well, and it talks about how the amount of time people were spending in these cemeteries as they were processing their grief, they would be there for a long time. Therefore, this was really like needed, like necessary, I guess I should say. Back in the 19th century, visiting grave sites was just like a very sort of important part of people's routines when they lost a loved one. Not to say that it's not now, but it was a very drawn out ritual at that time. I feel like you don't really see that so much in current times. I do hate when I drive past a cemetery and I see someone at a grave.
By hate, you mean because it's sad?
Oh, it breaks my heart.
That's what I assumed.
My heart. Thank you for clarifying.
Unless you meant it makes you angry.
No.
Because I say I hate when I see a single goose in the air. And I don't mean because I'm mad.
Or an odd number. When
absolutely.
A group, but
yes.
An odd, yes.
Yeah.
I agree. There are widows or widowers.
Yes, but even when it's just one, it's like, where did you come from? Where are you going? You one singular little goose.
The one doesn't make me as sad as an odd number in a flock, because when it's the one, I've seen one fly and land.
So have I.
And land at like a water hole or whatever, like a little pond or where others are congregating. So then I always think, oh, they're just running late. I can relate to that. But when it's a flock, for which basically what I'm saying, the same thing could apply, but it just... When I see a flock together and they're getting into their formation, I think, well, they're in for the long haul. They're going down south. Southo,
All right.
Especially sad. Okay. So these chairs were supposed to basically offer like some comfort to these people who were there for long periods of time. Like I would imagine some maybe would have like blankets and would get on the grass, but it probably would just depend. And two, I think, back to like current times, I feel like you see a lot of like, I feel like when I see someone at a cemetery, not always, but generally people are planting flowers, they're replanting, they're, you know what I mean? Like cleaning things up. Like I feel like there's more of that than like spending hours at a time, whether they're trying to talk to their loved one or honor them, So, these mourning chairs were beautiful works of art. They were made from stone or concrete, and they were immovable. I mean, like a gravestone. Like, you can't pick this thing up and move it. Like, it was absolutely in place.
Right.
Very intricate carvings and detailing on them, some of them, which the note that I sent you, a lot of those have those examples.
Yeah, some of them are very pretty.
Yeah, and very like how you can, it almost looks like one is supposed to be like a piece of wood or part of a tree or like branches, or some of the one, I forget if it was a fern that it reminded me of, but like a plant, and the details of the leaves, beautiful. So, a blend of art and utility made them a staple of cemetery landscapes. And some were commissioned as memorials, honoring the deceased by serving as the actual grave marker. So over time,
I was going to say, somewhere along the line, this went awry a little bit.
Right, exactly. And, I think it's like all of these things, basically, where it has the supernatural element. Not everybody necessarily believes this.
Right.
But
yeah.
I think part of what came into play here is that the practice of sitting in cemeteries for hours at a time kind of, not that it fell to the wayside, but like you just don't really see that anymore. People are not going and spending hours on end in a cemetery.
Well, I feel like the world's a busier place than it used to be.
Good
so
point.
Like people
pass through quickly.
Well, not only that, but I know, I don't know if it's just me that thinks this, but like in today's age and with technology, it's like sometimes I think Facebook profile pages of people who have passed away become a new tombstone.
Excellent point. Did not think of that.
Unless a family member literally deletes it, it's just permanently there.
And people do go and make comments and say things. And, right. Good point.
So, I just feel like that's sort of like a digital tombstone at this point where people aren't like you said, just sitting out there. But
Right. There's additional ways to honor people as just time goes on and things are, not to say cemeteries and going there to honor someone has become obsolete, but just life goes in other directions as time goes
Yeah.
on. And people are just not lingering in cemeteries, I don't think, like they once had been. And even when you think about that too, how I said when you drive by a cemetery and you will see someone, and how I just find that to be so heartbreaking. How often do you really go by a cemetery where you do see a lot of people?
Not many.
Right. Like you typically, that is not something that's that common of a sight.
right.
So these chairs have basically become relics then. And they are like symbols of an era when the act of mourning was a more public and prolonged affair. So then that sort of started to shift the thought of like that this has kind of taken a sinister turn, if you will. So people began telling stories about like that there were consequences basically to sitting in these seats.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's nice of them.
That there was kind of this inherent eeriness of a chair permanently placed in a place that you're just among the dead.
Yeah.
So then the name shifted from mourning chairs to the devil's chairs.
Okay.
So the myth lies in these stories about people who basically were daring enough to sit in one. And in various places across the U.S. and even outside of the U.S., it would be like a common dare among teenagers. The two main days for this are Halloween and New Year's Eve that are like the popular, especially scary times to sit in one. So some of the beliefs are that the devil speaks directly to the person who's sitting in these chairs. Other people, report that when they are sitting in one, they hear very like strange whispers or even like voices that seem to be coming from their own head, like their own minds.
Yeah.
There's this one legend, and it claims, which I forget, I get to it later on with which particular chair this is. I forget the state or the name of it, but I'll get to it. But it involves like leaving a can of beer on the chair overnight, which that one, the fact that it's specifically a beer makes me think that totally came from like, I don't know, not to sound like a fuddy-duddy, but like these like kiddos,
Some college frat people. Right.
playing Edward Forty Hands.
Ugh.
I'm kidding.
You can't pee. You can't wipe yourself.
The wiping of yourself is really key there. Right. That basically like the can doesn't even open, but the beer is gone.
I see.
Weird. So
May I just interject
absolutely
quickly, because it was actually something I wanted to say last episode and I forgot it, but you just reminded me when I was talking about Mercy Brown, that I guess the tomb, not her gravestone, but I'm talking about the place that she was kept. Remember I said it was
on
like
ice,
right, like a tomb's kind of like, it's like a little wooden door in the side of a hill, basically. I don't know if that was like man-made, dug out, or if it was already a pre-existing kind of cave and they put a door on it. I don't know. But I was going through Reddit as I was like looking up her stuff, and this comment stuck in my head because one of the people said that they still live in Exeter, and that as kids, one of the like dares,
oh my gosh,
was I guess there's a pretty large hole in the door. And so as kids, you are like, the dare is to go up to the door, put your hand in as far as your shoulder.
Nope.
And you have to wait like that for 2 minutes.
I thought you were going to say 2 hours.
But can you imagine the tricks your mind would start playing on you if like
feeling things,
right,
seeing things.
Well, seeing things, you're not inside it.
But you can see through the hole. Is the whole
but
thing
you're up to your elbow. No, sorry, you're up to your shoulder.
Right.
So, but
even worse then.
I mean, that reminds me of when my sister and I went to the, like, on a different ghost tour, a tour. I'm not even trying to be funny when I say this, 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember. But it was in this tiny little town, and it was of an old jail. and the line to get in was so backed up because this town is it's like very famous for like fall activities and whatever. So it's very full there. And so, but we stood in line, took a while to get in. You get in, you sit down, you hear a little bit of the history of the jail. It's a very old jail. They literally used to hang people like as a style of execution in this jail. The point of this entire thing, though, is you can walk around for parts of the tour where it's like the guide will just wait for you on whatever level. There's like 3 levels of it that you're on, but you can just walk in and out of the cells. And they're like, take pictures, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, my sister, she is not into this at all. And I'm not necessarily into the ghost stuff like I've told you many times either, but whatever. I was taking pictures. So we had gone on the first and second areas and it was completely fine. So when we go to the basement, I'm like,
I just got the chills.
I'm like, okay, this is, whatever. So I there's like only 10 cells and they were like really old fashioned ones where they're like tiny little doors. You had to like not kneel, but bend over to get into them. Tiny little rooms, blah, blah, blah. So, some of the people on the tour were going up to these different rooms to take pictures. So I like thought, okay, I'm picking like door number 3, whatever, like, because it was one that nobody was at. So I walked up by myself. I get halfway into where you had to like bend over a little.
Right.
And I have my phone. It is pitch black in there, like pitch black. Have my camera ready to flash. I hit the shutter button so that the room lights up for a second. And there was a man.
Get out of here.
No, I'm 100% serious. I am not joking at all. But you're thinking it's something else. There was a man sitting in the middle of that room on a wooden chair, dressed head to toe in a skeleton costume. I did not scream, but I almost threw the phone out of my own hands. And I was like, my face was flushed.
So he was like a staff person meant to scare you.
Oh, absolutely. And there were a couple of them in a few of these, but they hadn't been on any of the other areas. Oh my God. Because I was like, this can't be happening.
Oh?
But it did.
My God. I would have screamed, I think.
And then, eventually, like, because then it started to happen to some of the other people. And then, the staff people weren't, like, coming out to scare you. They were just, like, because it's completely pitch black. But the reason I'm saying all this is because imagine as those staff people, while you're waiting for the tour, to get to the basement, you're just sitting in an old jail cell in pitch darkness.
Where people
unless you're on
died.
Snapchat, I guess. But pitch darkness where people have been executed during the month of October around Halloween. And I mean, imagine for somebody like us, what your mind would do with just pitch black silence for potentially, even if it's only 10 minutes of just sitting there like that until people get there.
10 minutes too long.
Right. That is bananas.
It sure is. I couldn't do it.
So
I couldn't. That just made me think when I said that I would have screamed. I'm pretty sure this is the same town. When you and I went there once, and it was this time of year, and we were walking down the street, and there was a bookshop, I think, or
yeah, it was a bookstore.
Yeah, and I'm like pointing out a book to you, and I'm like looking through the window, and I'm pointing, and I'm totally sucked in. Meanwhile, there were 2 things. There was someone on the inside of the store, and they threw like a spider on a string like at the window at me, and I screamed. And then I guess it was coming back, the man was dressed like in a plant or as the plant or something. He was outside.
He was like a bush or something.
Yeah, and started to like come over towards me or
no, he was always on the other side of the street, but he was just scaring people. So, I mean, the second one is a little less scary than the first of just seeing someone dressed as a bush, but we all have our triggers.
I thought he walked over or something. Oh, my God. Well, that sounds terrifying, that tour.
Anyway, I know that was a very long detour, but I was just like,
nice.
when you were talking about like daring people to sit somewhere for a while.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, that, like, again, it goes back to Clinton Road. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to go down that road.
It makes me wonder, though, the people who do it willingly, are they non-believers and they're just not rocked easily or at all? And it's like, I can sit down in there in the dark. I don't care. Nothing's going to get me. Or are they like, oh my gosh, I hope I see something. Like, this is literally prime opportunity. Like, I'm going to be down there for so long, you know, the whole night of this tour. I'm going to have these chunks of time where I am by myself. It's totally quiet. It's going to be pitch black. Like, I assume they could have their own phones. Maybe, you know, they were taking pictures themselves while they were waiting for like the next group of tourists
I'm sure they
to come
were.
through. Right. So I'm just curious, like, what's going on with those people?
I have a feeling that the question you asked probably is like, I think there's a lot more people at both ends of that spectrum instead of people in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's like somebody who's like, oh yeah, like, all right, like, let's go. I think it's either there is absolutely nothing there, so let's just do it, or the people who are like completely drawn into it. I don't think there's a lot of people like in the middle.
Right. Right.
Just my opinion.
Yeah. You said what you said.
I did say it.
So, have you ever heard of Cassadaga, Florida?
No.
Okay. So the perhaps most notorious devil's chair is located there. So Cassadaga is known as the psychic center of the world.
Very fascinating.
Agreed. I never
And
knew
unexpected.
that. Right. I know. Florida.
You would think it would be either Salem or New Orleans.
Yeah,
maybe?
good call. I was going to say New England, but New Orleans is a very good point. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah. So it is home to an active spiritualist community. It was founded in 1895. But this town in their Cassadaga Cemetery has their famed red brick devil's chair. So the note that I sent you,
right,
it's
and
the first.
it looks like the most benign
Oh, totally. It's boring.
chair out of all of them.
Yep.
It's just a nice
Pretty.
little brick wall with,
Yes,
a couple bricks left out to sit.
exactly. Very
So-
strange. You would think nothing of it. Well, the chair is rumored to be a portal to the underworld, and there's like a line of direct communication to the devil himself through that chair. So Cassadaga sits on a vortex. It's a point of concentrated psychic energy. So it is said that sitting in this chair will summon the devil, and it's that whole town, I guess, has become a magnet for ghost hunters and paranormal investigators, and especially around this time of year. Mm-hmm. So there are other locations where these haunted chairs are located in. Now, the next picture, if you could look at it, this one confuses me. So it's in England. It's in Shropshire, England. And the locals claim that the devil sits on his throne to watch over the county here. I don't see anything that looks exactly like a chair. It's like a natural mountainous like rock formation. But supposedly a thunderstorm, like if a human goes and sits on it to overlook the area, to overlook the town, a thunderstorm will likely follow.
Okay.
I don't know, statistically speaking, how often this occurs.
Right.
So I don't know. That seems a little strange. But it's a popular walking destination in Shropshire, and supposedly the devil resides within this chair, which is the natural rock formation.
Yeah.
And that it's basically like the devil's throne.
Right.
Yeah. This one I don't have a picture of, but it's in Alma, Kansas, and that one just said that the legend is whoever sits in it will eventually be cursed by an evil entity.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Right. Okay. There should be one in Illinois, the Greenwood Cemetery.
Right.
I love how am acting like I don't have access to these pictures. My gosh. Okay. Actually, let's go back up. When you see the Guthrie Center, Iowa, there are two pictures of that one. It looks like there's like a piece of fabric across the back.
Sorry, I was looking at the one that you just told me about.
It's right under that.
No. I just wanted to look up the one from Iowa.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I'm on.
But you said you didn't have a picture of it.
Kansas, I didn't have the picture.
Oh, then scratch that. Okay, yes. I see that. Yeah, I see the fabric.
Okay. So it's a cement cast chair. It's in Union Cemetery. It's situated between two graves, and they are both unmarked, those two graves.
Okay.
Local legend claims that whoever sits in it will have apparently terrible luck. Pretty vague. But it will bring misfortune to whoever. Yeah. So the cemetery itself was established as a private burial ground in 1885. The legend of the chair is only documented for the past 30 years.
Well, I don't know, but all I can think of through all these stories is it would really suck to be an out-of-towner who just happened to sit down, to take a load off. Because could you imagine if, like, we're on a trip, we're visiting a friend in a far off city, we happen to just find ourselves in a graveyard.
Oh, look, a chair!
Right, and I'll use me as the example, but I just sit down and then like the friend, like maybe she was taking a phone call and turns around and is like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Just waiting for you." She's like, "Well, you're cursed." That would be most unfortunate.
It sure would. Yeah, really would.
So.
All right. Next picture is in Kirksville, Missouri.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the notes. So this is the Baird chair. So this is in...
Baird?
This is in the Highland Park Cemetery. And it was first placed in the cemetery by Charles Grassel and David Baird when David's wife, Anna Maria Hoy Baird, died in 1911. It has become involved in numerous legends of a type widely replicated across the U.S., especially in rural and small town communities. Some versions say that something dreadful will happen to the person who's seated in it exactly at midnight, and specifically on Halloween.
Oh, my. Well, you can lounge in this for a long time.
It's pretty nice. A hand will apparently emerge from the grave and drag you down to the underworld.
No.
Other
Although,
versions...
cut to you just jumping on a plane to get to this chair. I was thinking about that earlier when it's like the people are like, well, you'll have a direct line to him. And I thought, I just picture you being like, grabbing a mug of tea.
Taking a seat.
Sitting on one of these, just going, well, hello. But I could be wrong.
Right. Well, it also says other versions of the story suggest that the intrepid one will be rewarded. So whoever's brave,
well, how about it,
gets the prize. So this specific chair itself was sculpted out of concrete by Charles Grassel of the Baird and Grassel granite work of Kirksville, Missouri.
Sounds about right.
Right. And it was placed as a memorial for Anna, David's wife. 1 year later, he died and he was buried beside her, and this chair is their grave marker.
Yeah. See, this is what's also throwing me about these chairs. Even before they were sinister, they sounded like a sweet idea, except like there's one chair in a graveyard.
I know, and if multiple people... Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, you're right.
I'm just saying, like, graveyards are not small. So the fact that, like, you're going to visit somebody who's in plot 887 and you're going to sit in a chair in plot 26?
Well, my impression was that it was, if the family wanted to do it, the family would commission the sculpting of this chair. This wasn't
I thought
like
it was
for...
just... Oh, I thought it was like just for like anybody who was coming to visit the graves could like sit down to relax if they... Not relax, but...
Like a community
process.
Public...
Yes, like that's where I'm kind of getting thrown.
Yeah, me too, obviously, because I had a different impression of things.
Okay, well...
Yeah, we'll never know. At least today
we easily
won't.
Could, but we probably won't right now.
So I do not have a picture of this one, but in Georgia.
The devil goes down to Georgia, I've heard.
Is that a song?
Yeah.
I don't know it. Dolly Parton.
No, it is a country song, though.
Oh, no, thank you. Okay. In Bonaventure Cemetery, located in Savannah, Georgia, the grave of famed music writer Johnny Mercer. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Me neither. His grave is formed in the style of one of these chairs, and his writings and quotes are on it and serves more also as his tombstone. Are you looking him up?
No.
Oh, okay. Now, on your phone in the notes, I have one from Italy.
What happened to the Illinois one?
Let me look here.
The haunted chair of Greenwood Cemetery?
I have one sentence in there about it. I apologize. In Decatur, Illinois, right? My notes have
Decatur, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the chair looks nice. That one.
Look, I forget now.
It
No,
looks
this
like
is the one with the branches.
Yeah, like
Yes.
a tree stump.
Kind of looks like a peace sign.
It does look like a peace sign, and it kind of like wraps around you. Very ergonomic.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, I see
Sorry
this
about
last
that.
one that
Yes, that's the one in Italy.
looks certainly old.
Yeah, and total different look. Like
I'll
it looks
say.
like a piece of furniture in a room, not
Like a comforter. No,
Yes.
not a comforter, a recliner.
I knew what you meant. Yes. So this one is in Torcello. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, and is referred to as the throne of Attila. Now, this one but this one is believed to have been a magistrate's seat. The local legend there isn't exactly spooky. I mean, I guess that's subjective, but local legend claims that a girl who sits in it will be married within a year. So,
Where the hell is this chair? Yeah, I wouldn't say that's spooky.
well, to some people,
I'd say
it
that's
might
hopeful.
be. Well, it depends. Tomato.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, the legend reflects on different cultural beliefs about the afterlife, focuses on fear of the unknown, and just like people's fascination with the macabre. And,
of course.
Right. And never truly knowing. I mean, I guess some people feel that they know, but that sitting in these chairs is honestly like somehow a way to communicate with the devil.
I want nothing to do with it.
Underworld. I mean, I don't know, man, but it's an act of defiance for kids, like these teenagers who are daring each other and test of their bravery, which the one did say, you will be rewarded for your bravery. That it's not a bad omen by doing it. It's actually, positive.
Isn't that the devil saying that, though?
Is it?
I'm
Could
not
be
sure.
Legend. I don't know about that.
All right. I didn't know.
But maybe. So, just for us to have a discussion, I mean, what do you think? Do you think these chairs have honestly become cursed over time? Do you think it's humans just kind of adding on this layer of spookiness and, going down this haunted road? Do you think, what was the other thing I was going to say? Do you think too, not so much like, is the devil in these graveyards, but sort of like, do you think where these particular things are, that it is like a bit of a portal into hell? I don't know.
I don't know. You've asked me, do I think 4 times and never let me speak once.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. The only thing I think about these chairs is if there was any semblance of truth to feeling even slightly weird in them or something, I would relate that back to what we learned about the suicide forest and just like how energy kind of sticks around, Graveyards, they're places of sadness and
full of energy
and mourning and grieving and stuff. So like maybe, but I just think people get bored and start making up
Agreed.
something that is like, hey, what's the latest thing we can do on a Friday night? Ooh, how about I dare you to sit on that brick chair? Now I'm not sitting on any chairs around there. I'm just telling you, I don't want to, but
I do think you're right on how those things sort of get started, though. And what is meant to honor people has now turned into
right, exactly.
A hand is going to come up and get you from the afterlife.
Right. And that's the thing, because even like, with the Mercy Brown place, I can kind of understand, like, okay, she was kept in there. Even if she wasn't kept in there, the fact that, people who had deceased. Actually, I don't want to stick my hand up to the shoulder into anything at any time, regardless of whether it was a place of death. I don't want to just sit there like Fear Factor, and they're like, here, stick it in here. No, I don't want to.
I completely forgot about that show.
So, yeah, I mean, but for this purpose, like I can kind of see how, okay, like the last known vampire of America, whatever was in here, like, let me stick my hand up to the shoulder and just hope I don't get it pulled off. I guess. But the fact that these chairs, like you said, were made for a nice purpose.
Right.
They're out in the open. Yes, it's apparently sometimes Halloween midnight. Who's got the time for that?
I know. And if I were to ever be in a cemetery, obviously now I will think differently because I know what the legend is about them. But prior to this, if I had been in a cemetery and saw one of these chairs, I would have thought nothing of it.
I think I would have sat down. I think it would have been delightful. I would have been like, well, look at this.
I don't think I would have sat, but I definitely wouldn't have gotten a spooky vibe. If anything, I feel like I would have associated it with money. Like, oh, this family, must have had a lot of money to have something so ornate and detailed and basically extra. Like it's a furniture fixture made out of stone, I mean, that's crazy. That's over the top.
It's wild.
Right.
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think that these little things that we're unexpectedly taking journeys through history all of a sudden.
I know. What is happening?
At first, it was a bunch of people going into the woods and never coming out. And now we are walking around the 17th, 18th, and 19th century.
Absolutely.
Just like I was going to say, I guess this doesn't really match up, like Miss Frizzle and the Magic School Bus.
Oh, my God.
They never time traveled, though, right?
From the past. I couldn't tell you, and I'm so embarrassed that I can't tell you. I freaking loved that show and those books.
So, yeah. But that's what makes this podcast.
Absolutely. No rules, man.
We don't play by any kind of rules. We just hope that you find us charming enough to continue to come back.
Yes. Keep returning, please.
And even if you don't, just like us on Instagram at least.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you. Well, not see you. You'll hear us next time. And as always, stay safe.
And stay chill.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. You've just listened to Chillworthy. Thank you for joining us on this latest episode. While we strive to keep our discussions engaging and lighthearted, we also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the real lives and events that are at the heart of these stories.
We try to approach each topic with a sense of curiosity and respect, fully aware of the impact these events have had on the individuals and their loved ones. Our goal is to honor their memories by keeping their stories alive and shedding light on the mysteries that surround them.
If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, and don't forget to join us on the next episode of Chillworthy.